Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You are watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 1st of February. India's finance minister unveils budget, promises reforms to drive growth. Costs. Crackdown put a damper on Pakistan's election campaigns. And China defends Xi accepting Taliban officials' diplomatic credentials. And now for all the details. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday tabled the interim budget in the Parliament, promising reforms to spur growth. Highlighting that the Indian economy is going through profound change, the Finance Minister in her speech said with inflation under control, all areas of growth are performing better than expected. She said major focus is being made on empowering farmers, women, youth, and the poorest population. All four require and receive government support in their quest to better their lives. Their empowerment and well-being will drive the country forward, she said.
We need to focus on four major castes. They are Garib, Mahilaye, Yuva, and Annadata. Their needs, their aspirations, and their welfare are our highest priority. The country progresses when they progress. All four require and receive government support in their quest to better their lives. Their empowerment and well-being will drive the country forward. Our vision for Vikasit Bharat is that of prosperous Bharat in harmony with nature, with modern infrastructure, and providing opportunities for all citizens and all regions to reach their potential.
The government resisted any large giveaways and said it would reduce its fiscal deficit to 5.1% of GDP in 2024 to 25 from 5.8% this year. The budget also foresees an increase in capital expenditure on long-term projects by 11%, while the government borrows a lower than expected 14.13 trillion Indian rupees from the bond markets to fund its fiscal deficit. In the last budget ahead of general election, government stick to tradition and refrain to announce any big schemes, also keeping tax policies unchanged.
देखिए अनाउंसमेंट जो है वो बेहतरीन है क्योंकि आज जो बजट भी इंटरिम था कोई बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे लगा नहीं कि जिसके अंदर कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी थी जो शायद आ सकती थी मैं उम्मीद कर रहा था लेकिन शायद कहीं बिकॉज ऑफ इंटरिम बजट तो वो नहीं सुनाई दी हैं लेकिन ऑफ कोर्स जो सबसे बड़ी बात थी कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर काफ़ी ज़्यादा फोकस था जो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर की बात हुई कि जैसे मैंने आपको बजट से भी पहले कहा था कि उसके अंदर एक काफ़ी बड़ा अमाउंट इंक्रीज होना चाहिए तो वो कहीं ना कहीं कंसीडर किया गया है.
Praising the interim budget presented by Finance Minister, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has termed the budget inclusive and innovative. He said the budget has a reflection of the young aspirations of India, giving the guarantee of making India a developed country by 2047. However, the opposition has slammed the budget and said not very much came out of it.
Well, it was one of the shortest speeches on record in the budget, and not very much came out of it. As usual, a lot of rhetorical language, very little concrete on implementation. Some serious questions about areas of omission, no reference to the success or failure of the PLI scheme, which is taking so much money. She talked about foreign investment without acknowledging that investment has come down significantly. She talked, frankly, about a number of things that are couched in vague language like for confidence and hope and so on. But when it comes to hard figures, there were very few figures available.
Just months ahead of general elections, the opposition Indi bloc suffered another political blow as former Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren was arrested by ED on Wednesday evening in a money laundering case. Before his arrest, he submitted his resignation to the state governor, and Champai Soren has been chosen as the new leader of JMM's legislative party. The opposition alliance has termed the arrest as anti-tribal actions and undemocratic practice. Just few days back, Bihar CM walked out of the Indi alliance and returned to the NDA, which also stunned the opposition alliance. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is expected to hear Soren's plea on Friday, challenging his arrest by the ED over the cases. Soren's arrest and the political turmoil in Jharkhand is a challenge to the Indi alliance, both in terms of larger perception and electoral preparedness in Jharkhand. Moving on, higher living costs and political uncertainty have muted Pakistan's once boisterous election campaigns, with both candidates and those who supply them with materials bemoaning the need to do more with much less.
Traditionally a festive event, complete with lots of spending on printing and advertising, Pakistan's electioneering campaign has been relatively muted amidst political uncertainty and crippling economic crisis. The 8th of February vote takes place as Pakistan battles an economic crisis marked by high inflation and a weak currency. Even if costs did not matter to some parties run by landlords, capital market players and industrialists, the uncertainty about election dates, rumors of delays and fear of the powerful military had pushed candidates to keep a low profile, politicians and analysts say.
इस वक्त बहुत उरूज पर है महंगाई, इस वजह से भी लोग काफ़ी मोहतात हैं। दूसरा ये कि लोग इसलिए दिलचस्पी नहीं ले रहे हैं कि अल्लाह ना करे कि हम दिलचस्पी लें, इलेक्शन में खर्चा करें, झंडे लगाएं, बैनर्स लगाएं और आगे जाके इलेक्शन कैंसिल हो जाए।
The vote also follows a widespread state-sanctioned crackdown on PTI party of popular former PM Imran Khan, who has been in jail since August over a raft of charges, including corruption.
हम लोग चोरी छिपे सब कंपेन कर रहे हैं, हमें ओपन कंपेन करने नहीं दे रहे। हम कभी इधर छुप छुप कर कंपेन कर रहे हैं। जलसा हमने जहाँ घर में रखा, हम लोगों को बताते नहीं हम जलसा यहाँ पे रखा है। हम उनको कहीं बुलाते, कहीं ले कहीं जाते हैं उनको। हम जलसे का किसी मीटिंग का टाइम लोगों को सही जगह बता नहीं सकते। हम उनको बताते किसी जगह पे, बैठाते भी किसी जगह पे जाके। ये इलेक्शन है।
In yet another incident of enforced disappearance, a student from Balochistan was detained by Pakistani forces on Wednesday. Following the incident, Baloch students warned if he is not released immediately, they will hold protests across Balochistan. A report.
Local media reported the student, identified as Mehboob Baloch, was travelling to his native place in Turbat before he was detained by military officials at the Badok checkpoint in Gwadar area. Following the incident, Baloch students warned if he is not released immediately, they would expand protests further across Balochistan. Earlier this week, another youth was also allegedly detained in Kharan, while an elderly was forcibly disappeared from Kech district, family members of whom blocked CPEC highway for his safe recovery. Activists have long claimed Baloch people have been targets of so-called military operations to instill fear and exert control over the Baloch people, who have been demanding independence from Pakistan's occupation.
China's foreign ministry has defended President Xi Jinping receiving the credentials from Taliban-appointed Afghan envoy this week, saying that it is a normal diplomatic arrangement and urged the international community not to exclude the group, even though it is yet to respond to global concerns. The US and the EU have imposed economic and political sanctions on Taliban leaders and entities, accusing them of grave human rights violations, particularly concerning women's rights to education and work. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said Afghanistan should not be excluded from the international community, but the Taliban must also respond to the expectations of the international community. Moving on, Sri Lanka expects to pull in nearly 50% of more tourists this year. Tourism Minister Harin Fernando said on Wednesday, as the tropical island nation, famous for its ancient temples and golden beaches, pins its hope on tourism to emerge from a long financial crisis. Tourist arrivals increased to 1.48 million last year, an increase of 106% from 2022 government data shows. The highest arrivals were from India, Russia and Britain. It is now aiming for 2.2 million tourists this year and $4 billion in tourism revenue. A global campaign to attract tourists will also be launched later this year after a lapse of about 15 years. The minister said, tourism is Sri Lanka's second highest foreign exchange earner after workers' remittances from abroad, making it crucial to its economic recovery. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.